Survival Z. It's the latest Apple Arcade edition. Developed by Ember Entertainment, it's their take on the zombie experience. Today, I'm going to share my initial thoughts on this zombie survival experience. I had mixed feelings of this game before playing it. It has a bit of a generic name, and I wasn't sure if the top-down perspective would work well for a zombie survival game. But boy, was I wrong. It's a really good time. The game is inspired by The Horde, an old 3DO game, Arch Arrow, and various other roguelites. I also like to think of it as a mix of Slay the Spire's progression and the survival gameplay of something like Plants vs Zombies. But here, you have 3D graphics and more freedom to move around. I've been in conversation with Zachary Peterson, the development director at Ember and project lead on Survival Z. He told me that the game was in development for a little over 2 years. When they pitched the game to Apple Arcade, they said, "We wanted to make something dynamic, expandable, and accessible." At first they thought going for a slower paced survival simulation would be best. However, Zachary said the zombie theme and casual art style didn't nail the accessibility they wanted. It was at this point the team transitioned it into a more fast-paced action experience, and I think it was the right choice. It is a really hard game, I will be honest, but that's kind of the beauty of it in itself. It's hard and punishing, but when you get through it, the levels, it's rewarding. According to Zachary, Apple has given us the creative freedom to develop something we would not have attempted otherwise. He said it's always scary going out on a limb with a design, but with their help, we've mashed up both the gameplay, action, tower defense, roguelite, and the visuals, colorful, accessible, post-apocalyptic, into a mix that really works. So, in the game, you get to play as a survivor, armed with a crossbow, and will try to save all who remain in this zombie post-apocalyptic world. The game is packaged all around going out on routes. Along the way, you do get to kind of choose your path. It's important to know where you're going. Will you face a zombie horde where you can receive gold and a new ability? Will you stop by good old Steve, who might provide valuable equipment? What's that? You're low on health? Maybe you'll make a quick stop at the medical tent. Wait, there's a survivor down this route. Maybe you'll try to rescue them. This is beneficial as the survivors can fight alongside you or become playable characters. Mind you, the survivors can be a little bit difficult to protect at times. Thankfully, when they go down, they're not dead indefinitely. You can revive them and restore some of their health. Some levels also let you make difficult tactical choices. For example, on one occasion I met a stranger up in a tree who offered some valuable gold if I could clear a group of zombies, without taking damage, that is. When I declined his offer, my character ended up shooting an arrow into the stranger's leg due to a silly fallout. His screams of pain got the attention of the zombies, and as my character walked away, he could hear zombies devouring him and he was screaming. That's rough, man. At the end of each route, you will face a boss too, and if you win, that means you've completed that route and will move to the next location. If you fail at any level, you will have to restart back to the beginning of the route, and you'll lose all your abilities that you gathered along the way. Thankfully, at base camp, players can upgrade their equipment so you can hopefully progress further into your next run. The routes are forever changing too, so no runs are the same. If it's not already evident, the game has great replay value, plus enemy variety helps to keep the game feeling fresh. You're going to face the traditional slow zombie that takes a few hits to take down. They're not much of a problem. but then you also have some zombies that are super quick, some that will pounce at you, some that will throw disgusting things at you that can hurt you. A few are really strong and take many hits to drop, and then there is a sneaky zombie that drops gold when you shoot it. Now I see a few people saying some zombies are too powerful or are bullet sponges, or levels take too long to complete that they become tedious. I believe this was done on purpose. For example, Area 3 is so incredibly difficult at first. So what I did was, I went back and grinded the second area until I upgraded my gear and unlocked equipment that I had originally missed. Then I went back to the third area and I found it was a breeze. So I think in a way the game is meant to be kind of grindy. You also can't take your eyes off the game or you'll die quickly. There is so much happening on screen at once. It's just something your eyes will get adjusted to, I guess. I should also mention the game lets you place down defenses to help with your survival. Some examples I noticed in my playtime were a sandbag barrier to block off zombies, barbed wire that will slow and damage zombies that walk through it, a barrel bomb that will explode when zombies are nearby, a nail gun turret that, well, shoots nails into zombie flesh, or a jelly bomb that slows down the undead. Originally, I used these items to bunker down in one area, but I quickly discovered this didn't really work all the time, as staying in one place will often result in death. It's always best to be on the move and keep your distance from the zombies, because their attacks can deal a lot of damage to your character. The game itself runs great on Apple devices. While the game doesn't support custom graphics, Ember Entertainment told me the game supports a solid 60 FPS on most devices. The Mac version allows you to change the resolution. On my 5K iMac, I was running it at 4K resolution, and on my 13-inch MacBook Pro M1, 1080p resolution. At these resolutions, the game looked pretty gorgeous, especially 4K, very sharp. If you own an Apple TV 4K, the UI elements render natively in 4K for all supported TVs out there. To maintain 60 FPS on the device, the 3D scene renders around 2500 by 1406, about 64% 4K, and is upscaled from there. I think the developer needs to do a little more work on this version, mind you, to make it look a little sharper. For me, it just looks a little blurry on a 4K display, being, upscaled. Looking forward, we can expect great future content updates. Soon, the addition of super perks will be added, which will give the player a big leg up at the start of a run, but only come around once every couple days. A challenge mode is also in the works. You will be able to unlock it after you complete a zone. In challenge mode, you will be traversing as far as you can on the zone map to score points. The enemies get harder each node, so there will be some strategy on how to traverse the map to score the most points and survive. I'd also love to see multiplayer added to the game, because it's not here right now. I actually asked the team about this, and they said there are no plans for multiplayer right now. They want the game to be a solid single-player experience first and foremost. Perhaps the main game doesn't have to have multiplayer, but you could make a separate multiplayer survival mode. Here, you could launch a local or online game. I just couldn't get this idea of multiplayer out of my head when playing this game. I just think it would be really cool. I'd also like to see other weapons added, from shotguns, machine guns, snipers, pistols, or more powerful weapons, such as sticky bombs, rocket launchers, and so forth. I also wish the game would let you shoot manually. This gameplay mechanic of shooting automatically makes sense if you're playing on the touchscreen, yeah, but I wish you had an option to disable it when you play with a controller. There were just too many times when the character would shoot at the wrong zombie. Lastly, perhaps some voice acting would be a good idea. There can be a lot of dialogue in this game, mainly during the multi-choice levels. I just think it would really add to the experience, but that's just me. So, what do you think of Survival Z? Have you played it yet? How far have you progressed if you have played it? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, please drop a like and subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date with everything Apple Arcade related. Anyway, my name's Stewie and thanks for watching.